Well, here we are. The last episode of Drops Mike. It's been a crazy few years, but I mean, my broadcast journalism class is over, and so is the show. So, just gonna say goodbye to all these memories. At this point, I just hope my 31 subscribers will be able to go over it. Poor fellas. 30 subscribers, actually. That's my bad. 30. Numbers don't really matter, actually. Hey everyone, this is Jay Namjadi coming to you with a Parquet Courts album review, Wide Awake. Parquet Courts is a rad bunch of art punk dudes from the Brooklyn area, grabbed a whole lot of attention back in the year 2013 with their second album, Light Up Gold. Since then, they've delivered just solid project after solid project, really, all with their own unique styles to them. This came to a head with 2016's Human Performance, and I'd say while the band's songwriting had improved, this is probably like one of my favorite records of theirs, definitely. This maturing led to some of those punky, shouty, rawly energetic qualities of their earlier work to only really show up sparsely, I guess, on the record. So when Almost Had to Start a Fight, In and Out of Patience dropped, my expectations were set pretty high. I mean, they were coming back to this incredibly punky energy with much stronger knowledge of songwriting. And as a result, I mean, this track is just fantastic. Then we get the very weird, very Talking Heads-esque title track, Wide Awake. Still these yelpy vocals, this time with a very quirky guitar melody and goofy percussion throughout the entire thing. Even without the goofy video or the lyrics, I'd say just the instrumental is enough to bring a giggle out of people. The last single, Mardi Gras Beads, was much more somber, but with still a very powerful tune backing it up. A real winner of a track. So going off these three songs, my expectations really were high. If they could maintain this energy and songwriting prowess, this would be their best album. And perhaps nowhere is this energy better exemplified than on the very first track, Total Football, as Andrew Savage shouts at the top of his lungs, "Collectivism and autonomy are not mutually exclusive." It's a really powerful opener about the importance of community within social discourse. Savage just yells out point after point before the background vocals pop in, catching the listener with this surprisingly catchy, hook bridge. Savage clearly doesn't really care that much about song structure here, and it's kind of to the record's benefit, I'd say. While the grooves are dancey and unique across the entire album, which, I mean, I would never call Parquet Courts dancey in the past. This is definitely something new for them. I was most impressed by the lyricism, Savage in particular. Of course, Brown also does vocals for them, but the lyricism that Savage particularly brings to the table, man, just nearly every political point he makes throughout this entire record is nuanced and thought-provoking. On the second track, Violence, led mostly by bass and keys, Savage seems to be using the strange background instrumentation as a platform to deliver what is probably the most poetic take on gun violence in our broken justice system that I've heard all year. And when he isn't making these political statements, he's writing the types of loose yet personal lyrics that one would expect out of like Jeff Rosenstock or something. I mean, Savage has always written about his own life, sure, but it's always been through some metaphorical language, or it's been through some story that he's told that you're just kind of supposed to infer the themes of. Here he's kind of dropping the cryptic language, at least in some instances, and it's just kind of like, I can't count how many times I've been outdone by nihilism, or describing feeding his cat out of want for feeling needed. Speaking of introspection, Parquet Courts pulls through on lots of those tracks too. Freebird 2 acts as an open letter to Savage's mom and addresses the troubles of his youth, but when it gets to the final melody and he sings about the freedom he now feels just as she said he would, I mean, gosh, it puts a little glob in your throat. You have your shorter tracks too, which will really get those slacker punks going, just like on Light Up Gold or American Specialties. NYC Observation and Extinction bring the listener 2 minutes of a whole lot of energy, shouty savage vocals before getting on to the next track. And these don't really stick out in the track list to me per se, when surrounded by these other songs, but they definitely don't detract from the album either. Any complaints I have are minor, or after a couple of listens just completely faded, to be honest. On my first listen, for example, like Before the Water Gets Too High, I was a little worried that some other songs in the track list, because of this one, would share a similar sound, kind of detracting from the energy overall. But now when listening to it, it's a cool slacker rock song with a chill groove making a strong statement, and it's really grown on me quite a bit. I do wish the last song, Tenderness, ended on a note of more finality after this album, I guess. Instead, it sticks around for like 3 minutes before fading out. And while a fade out can be to final track's benefit, I feel like a song has to kind of earn the fade out. You know, it doesn't just get it after 3 minutes of verse, chorus, okay, bye now, woo. I do love the melody on this thing, but when the fade out is deployed, it feels a little incomplete. And because I do enjoy this album so much, the minor complaints kind of seem a bit bigger than they are, I think. This mildly disappointing ending cannot stop this from being a fantastic record. Parquet Courts really just lands hit after hit, whether it be a political or an emotional one. I'm just glad that this could be the last record that I review for this channel. We're going out with a great one. But hey, what did you think of this album, huh? My journalism class might be over, but I still have my YouTube account. If you want to chat about this album with me down in the comments section, we can do that. For now, this has been Jaden Amjadi bringing you a review of Parquet Courts' Wide Awake. Drops mic.